Welcome back. I have something special here today. This is an adapter that allows electric vehicles that use the CCS1 charging standard to charge on Tesla Superchargers. And I'm the only influencer or electric vehicle journalist to have one of these. Why is that? And does it work? Stay tuned and find out. Okay, before we jump into this specific adapter, let me just take a couple of minutes to explain why adapters are even necessary with electric vehicles. And for that, we've got to go back 15 years when some of the early electric vehicles were just being engineered. Tesla was, of course, designing their Model S, which was their first high-volume electric vehicle that they sold. They did sell the Roadster before the Model S. That came out around 2008. But the Roadster had its own specific proprietary plug that Tesla only used on that one electric vehicle. Moving forward, they wanted to create something better that could accept more power that they would use on all their vehicles. So Tesla developed their connector, the Tesla connector. There was no standard for the industry to use, and Tesla was moving at a rate that the SAE, the Society of Automotive Engineers, who were tasked with designing a standard plug, they couldn't operate on the time frame that Tesla wanted. Tesla needed a connector. They were going to be selling their electric vehicles, so they developed their own connector and started using it. Then Nissan was also the first electric vehicle, first manufacturer that developed a mass market, say, affordable electric vehicle. They needed a solution. So they went and developed or co-developed a plug called the CHAdeMO plug in Japan with TEPCO, the Tokyo Power Authority over there. So they developed this plug called CHAdeMO. Then the Society of Automotive Engineers here in the US finally said, okay, we have a plug now, and it's called CCS1. There's a different version that's used in Europe called CCS2. They're very similar, but they are different. So the rest of the auto manufacturers, the Fords, the GMs, the BMWs, Mercedes, everybody else said, okay, we're going to use this plug, the CCS charging system. So now we had Tesla using their proprietary plug, the Tesla connector. Nissan and then Mitsubishi and also Kia started using the CHAdeMO system, and everybody else using CCS. So now we had three different connectors, plugs for electric vehicle charging, and a mess. It's starting to coalesce now. And what happened was CCS became the dominant connector here for everybody except for Tesla. And the other manufacturers that started using this CHAdeMO plug, one at a time started switching over. Kia switched over. They're no longer using it. Nissan is currently uses it for the Nissan Leaf, but with their new Ariya, the new electric vehicle that's owned, they went to CCS. Mitsubishi still uses it for their Outlander plug-in hybrid, but the writing's on the wall for CHAdeMO. CHAdeMO's going away, and it basically came down to Tesla's connector and the CCS1 connector. Just this year, about 8 months ago, Ford came out and said, we're going to transition to Tesla's connector. Tesla called it the North American Charging Standard, NACS. We call it NACS for short. So Ford said, I'm going to use the NACS connector. We're going to transition to this starting in 2025. Our new EVs are going to have a native port. We're going to transition off of the CCS1 connector, and we're going to be able to have access to Tesla's large supercharger network. Then GM followed, and the dominoes are falling now, and everybody is saying, okay, we're going to switch over and use the North American Charging Standard, Tesla's connector. In the beginning, we're going to need an adapter because we're not going to start putting the Tesla's charge port on our vehicles until 2025. And in the interim, we want our customers to be able to use Tesla's supercharging network. So we're going to have an adapter so that people can charge from Tesla Superchargers to our vehicles. Okay, so now we need an adapter for that. There has been an adapter, and this is it for a few years now, that allowed Tesla vehicles that used North American Charging Standard to charge on CCS charging stations. This is an adapter that Tesla sells that allows Tesla customers to charge on CCS1 charging stations, Electrify America, EVgo, all those other networks. But there's never been an adapter that allowed other vehicles to charge on Tesla's Superchargers. And even if somebody did develop an adapter, it wouldn't work because Tesla Superchargers authenticate the charging session. Basically, even if you plug into their station, the station asks the vehicle, who are you and are you authorized to charge here? That doesn't happen with the CCS charging network. They will let anybody charge on their network that can plug in. That's why Tesla vehicles can charge on CCS charging stations. But Tesla owns and operates their supercharger network, and it had been exclusively for use of their customers. So they wouldn't let anybody charge on it, even if an adapter was made. But now agreements are being signed from all the other automakers, and Tesla's going to allow the other automakers to charge their electric vehicles on their network. If you have the CCS equipped vehicle, you'll need an adapter like this new adapter that we're going to talk about today. But then in a couple of years, the car manufacturers are going to start installing charge ports with the NACS connector that plugs into it. So you won't need an adapter then to charge on Tesla Superchargers with non-Tesla electric vehicles. I hope I kind of laid the groundwork here. So now that the dominoes are just starting to fall, and the automakers are saying in a couple of years we're going to be using the NACS connector. In the interim, we're going to let our customers charge on Tesla's very reliable and expansive supercharger network with an adapter. So where's this adapter going to come from? We don't know exactly if Tesla's going to manufacture their own adapter, if they're going to have somebody else design it, but we know that other companies are going to start making these adapters for sure. And I recently did a video on adapter safety and the fact that Electrify America and EVgo do not want people charging on their networks with adapters that haven't been approved by the automakers. After that adapter video came out, A2Z, actually the president, Amine Zitour from A2Z, reached out to me and said, Tom, listen, I saw your video. We're actually one of these companies making these third-party adapters. We're very interested in safety. We don't want to put out products that anybody would get injured. As a matter of fact, we are the first company to make an adapter that will allow CCS vehicles to charge on Tesla Superchargers. And that we plan on selling this very soon. We would like you to be the first person that we send it to and open up a conversation on this adapter and adapter safety. So I accepted it, they sent me it, and I set up an interview with Amine, which you're going to see in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about this adapter here and adapter safety, really, because the big problem is now that there's these 3 different standards out there and people want to charge their Tesla vehicle on a non-Tesla charging station, a Tesla charging station to charge non-Tesla vehicles, the market is being flooded with these adapters. Some of them are very low quality and quite honestly unsafe. And that's why the networks are saying we don't want you using these on our network. Okay, so brings us to this adapter here. They sent me one. It currently will not charge any non-Tesla electric vehicle because, as I said earlier, the Tesla Superchargers need to authenticate the vehicle. And while these agreements have been signed, they're not in effect yet. They're not going to start until next year. 2024 is when most of the manufacturers said, with an adapter, you'll be able to charge your non-Tesla from a Tesla Supercharger. Once the adapter's ready, once our agreements are all done and formalized, that's when you'll be able to do it. So even though I have this adapter, you can't use it to charge a non-Tesla vehicle. But I thought I might be able to use it to charge a Tesla vehicle. And let me explain how I did that. This video, as well as all of the videos here on State of Charge, is sponsored by Qmerit. Once I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charger you're going to buy, then follow the link in the description of my videos and have Qmerit install it. So I'm here at a Tesla Supercharger with a 2019 Tesla Model 3. Now the 2019 that I have here is not authorized for CCS charging. So this won't work at a CCS DC fast charger with the Tesla CCS to Tesla adapter. This is a legit Tesla adapter. I also have the A2Z NACS to CCS adapter. And I'm going to set up a Rube Goldberg device here to see if I can get the supercharger to pass energy through the new Typhoon NACS to CCS into Tesla's CCS to Tesla and charge this Model 3. So let's see if it works. First thing I'm going to do is attach these two adapters. I'm going to lock the bottom with the Typhoon lock so that it's locked. Now I'm going to plug the supercharger into the NACS to CCS adapter. How's that look there? Let's see if it works. Plugged in, get the blinking blue light on the Tesla. So it's communicating, it's deciding if it wants to accept the power. It should work, but there just has to be one little error in this transfer of power that would prevent it from working. It's still blinking blue, blinking green. It's working. All right, in the car now, no kilowatt yet. Yep, now it's starting to go 200 miles an hour. It's accepting power. Let's see how much power passes through. Well, this vehicle is at 31% state of charge, so it wouldn't be taking the full amount. But right now it's only taking 72 kilowatts. So I'm not sure, it should be taking more than 72 kilowatt at only 31% state of charge. But in any event, it works. This Rube Goldberg device works. So this Typhoon adapter by A2Z is allowing energy to pass through. Now, once the other OEMs enable their vehicles to accept power from superchargers, that's the glitch that we have right now. This adapter should work, but the supercharger won't identify the vehicle because I guess those deals haven't been all solidified with the manufacturers that have agreed to use the NACS. Then I'd be able to test this on a legit vehicle. But right now, working this way, it's actually allowing power to pass through. So it seems like the adapter works. So since it was only pulling 72 kilowatts through the adapters, I want to make sure that the adapters weren't limiting it, that the car itself was only requesting 72 kilowatts. So I unplugged the adapters. Let's plug the vehicle back in. We'll see what she's pulling now. So as you can see, it's topping out at 72 kilowatt. Now the battery is cold. It has been sitting outside my friend's house and it's not a warm day today, and we just drove right here, so didn't really give it a chance to warm up. Didn't enter a supercharger as a destination, so there'd be no preconditioning. So it is possible that that's all the car's going to take in now, and it wasn't being limited by the adapters. And while I was at the supercharger station, I said, hey, let me pull my Lightning into a stall and plug this adapter in and see if it'll work. So as I expected, it didn't work. And I got the red blinking lights in my charge port and it didn't charge the vehicle. I knew it wouldn't, but I had to do it while I was there just to add a little spice to the video. Next up, let's jump to the interview that I had with Amine Zitour, CEO and President of A2Z, see if we could learn a little bit more about this adapter. Okay, so I'm here today with Amine Zitour. He's the CEO and President of A2Z Shop. The A2Z Shop makes adapters for electric vehicles. They actually sell a full line of adapters, and I have all of them here in the State of Charge garage. Amine was nice enough to send me his full complement of adapters. But the one we're really interested in, and the one we're going to talk about here today, is the new adapter, the NACS to CCS adapter. Now, NACS is the North American Charging Standard, NACS, the Tesla connector. And Amine's actually the first company that I've seen, and I think it's the first company, to actually develop and make one of these adapters. Now, these are the adapters that companies are going to use. Non-Tesla vehicles will be able to charge on Tesla Superchargers. Now, none of these vehicles can charge yet because there has to be an authentication process that hasn't been fully established yet between the OEMs and Tesla. But this adapter should work once that happens. So we'll talk to Amine today about the product that he's going to be selling soon. And I want to thank you for coming on to State of Charge, Amine. And let's get right into the details. So tell me about the capabilities of this adapter. What can it deliver? How much power can pass through it?
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me. So regarding the specs, I know a lot of people been asking on social media about the amperage, especially. They want to know. I don't want them to be deceived. The amperage, the final version of the adapter is going to have 300 amps. So delivering between 250 to 300 kilowatts, and that's going to be allowed through fully insulation inside the adapter.
Okay, and so that would be...
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, we're going to have about 500 to 1,000 volts going through the adapter as well. So as of now, the prototype you have in hand supports about give or take 250 amps. We want people to be patient. It's a new adapter. We're the first company to release a third-party adapter. We're going to evolve. We're going to improve it once we have the technology for it.
Okay. And while I said that, and here's what the adapter looks like for those that haven't seen it yet. While I said it won't work yet, now it won't work because of the non-Tesla vehicles aren't authorized to use them. What I did today, and I didn't even tell Amine this yet, was I got a Tesla vehicle. A friend of mine has a Tesla, and I went to a Tesla Supercharger, and I connected the NACS adapter to connect it to your adapter. Then I plugged in a CCS to Tesla adapter and made sort of a Rube Goldberg adapter thing, plugged it into his vehicle, and it worked. The power passed through, and we were charging. Now, we were only taking in 72 kilowatts because I think his battery was cold. It was a cold day. It wasn't warmed up, and he wasn't at a very low state of charge. But it was passing power through it. So that's really the only test we could do right now. But the one thing that I have to talk about here is safety. I've released recently an adapter video about the fact that some of the major networks here in North America don't want non-authorized third-party adapters being used on their network. They're concerned about safety. How do we know this thing is safe?
It's the same as all of our adapters. There's some cheap adapters you can find on Amazon. Some companies, they don't do testings at all. It's as like you said, it's passive. So when you tested your way, the adapter was working at the supercharger. So the adapter is pretty much passive. We're proactive on testings. We do all kind of heavy tests on adapters before we release them on the market. There's insulation testings. We test the current going from a pole to the other. We also test the temperature rising of the copper, silver-plated copper inside, the silver-plated copper plate as well. And we make sure that the adapters are safe before we release them. I know there's not an adapter certification currently in North America. There's the UL 2252 outline that has just been released. We've purchased the outline. We're currently reading it, making sure that we're going to be compliant to every single thing they're asking for the adapter to be certified. All of our products are CE and FCC tested and certified. I know CE doesn't apply to North America, but at least it certifies that the adapter is safe to use for people and their vehicles.
Right.
That's for now, but once UL 2252 is going to be released, we're going to be cooperating with them, making our adapters certified.
Okay, so that is the goal, to have this UL certified, is what you're saying. You're going to put it through the safety certification. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that will happen before it's made available to customers? Because right now it's on your website as coming soon. Yeah. Nobody can buy it. But is it your goal to safety certify it before it goes for sale, or are you going to release it and then maybe in parallel try to get it safety certified?
There's a lot of things making our adapter not releasable right now, such as certification and superchargers not being open to the other vehicles. But our goal is definitely to get our adapters certified to comply with car manufacturers and charging station companies. Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed, and I always look at the locking mechanisms on the adapters, that I review here at State of Charge. I notice you have a very unique lock underneath here, and you have to push it, I think, forward, or is it backwards? I forget now. Forward. You pull it forward, and then it locks the connector to the adapter. Is there any type of safety mechanism on this? Like if, let's say I put it in and I forget to lock it, will it still pass power through, or will it not do it unless you lock the connector?
So, like you said, this adapter is purely mechanical. It's not electronical, so it doesn't prevent you from charging if it's not locked. But our final version, we're working on it right now. There's going to be some electronics involved with the locking mechanism. So if it's not locked, the charging process will not allow current to go from one side to the other. That was one of the recommendations we've got from external people.
And that's so interesting, because what I was going to follow up and say was, I know, and we're going to get into this next, I know you're trying to get this, without you telling me, certified and approved by the automakers, because let's face it, especially coming off the heels of the video I just did, there's a lot of talk in the industry about, you know, making sure your adapter gets approved and certified by the automakers. And the first thing when I saw this was, I was wondering if it did, you know, work without you locking it. And my first thought was, I don't think an automaker will allow it to be their official adapter or a certified without having some sort of a mechanism that you can't use it unless it's locked, because that's a big problem. If the adapter's not locked and somebody trips over the cable or something and it pulls apart, and that connector gets pulled out of your adapter hot, you know, we're not talking 120 volts, 240 volts. There's some major power going through these adapters, and we can't have them becoming untethered. So that you answered that question for me, and that'll come on. The next question is, these, in my opinion, these adapters are going to be dead in the water, because everyone's going to come out with them sooner or later if they don't get some sort of approval. Are you working, first of all, are you working with Tesla on this?
I can't confirm nor deny if we're working with Tesla. The only information I can give to you is the fact that superchargers are their property. So at some point, we're going to need their permission to use our adapters on superchargers. We've seen it with EVgo and Electrify America banning third-party adapters. And I'm pretty sure that Tesla has this in mind. They could ban the use of all adapters on their network. So I can confirm nor deny, but it's positive. We need to work with car manufacturers. So this is mandatory for us. Who are we working with? I'll let you think about it.
Okay, well then I was going to follow up and say, if it's not Tesla, are you working? I guess you just told me you can't name names. Are you working with other OEMs? We know the companies out there, Ford, General Motors, Honda, the Rivians, everyone that's saying they're going to use the NACS connector. Are you working with some of those companies to get this approved as an official adapter? And if so, could you at least tell us how many companies, even if you don't name the names?
Yeah, we have about 4 companies we're talking with in North America, and these are car manufacturers or electric vehicle manufacturers. So it can be motorcycles, trucks, or vehicles. And then there is a company in Europe as well, a car manufacturer in Europe we're working with. We're in constant contact with them. We've sent them samples. Some of them already finished the testings. They've heavily tested the adapters, teared them down, and we've got some feedbacks from them. Like you mentioned, one of the feedback was the lock-in system under the adapter, and the other feedback was full insulation inside the adapter. The adapter is not fully insulated, so when you open it up, you can clearly see the poles and you can play with everything's inside. And at some point, we're also going to make an adapter that's not openable. So Tesla's CCS1 adapter, if you try to open it, you have to destroy it. So it's not usable after you've opened the adapter. And that's one of the things we're going to do before releasing the NACS to CCS1.
Okay, that sounds like that makes a lot of sense. That I could see why not just Tesla, but even other manufacturers might make that another requirement, because they don't want people opening up, fiddling with it. They might have messed something up and then they put it back together and try to use it. And, now all of a sudden, their charge port melts and they have a warranty claim and saying, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. So, we got to make sure this stuff gets done right.
And one of when we were the first company to massively release the CCS1 to Tesla adapter back in July 2022. We released the adapter like this as it is, and once we've heard some recommendations from some companies, some people, car charging station companies as well, we've added a lock that's removable on the adapter. So it prevents the arcing problem. It prevents a bunch of dangerous things.
Okay. So when this gets eventually, let's say, everything works out well, you get UL approval. Tesla says, this adapter's safe. We'll allow you to use it. Ford, GM, Honda, a few other players say, you know what, I love this adapter. We're gonna make it one of our official adapters. Is your goal to sell it, to have it being sold through the automaker, or would they just recommend it and you would sell it directly to customers, or would it be a combination of both?
It would be a combination of both. I think most car manufacturers that we've been speaking with, they were thinking about placing orders with us. So that's their goal. They want to have inventory. They want to distribute the adapter as theirs to their customers. They want to have control over their inventory. And on the other side, we're going to be selling the adapter as well on our website to third-party customers.
Okay. I assume there's a temperature sensor in there, right? Is there one? Is there two? How does that work?
There's two temperature sensors. They're connected in between CP and CP at both ends of the adapter, in between both ends of CP and CP. And how it works, so whenever the adapter's internal temperature reaches 85 Celsius degrees or 185 Fahrenheit, it triggers the temperature sensors, which activates the switch, stops the current from being provided to the adapter until it cools down. There's two. It works one at a time. So those two temperature sensors have about 600 times of lifespan. It can be activated 600 times. And once that's done, it's not 600 times, sorry, it's 6,000 times, I'm sorry. So once one has reached 6,000 times of the lifespan, it dies and it comes to the other one. Once the other one has reached 6,000 times as well, it dies and the adapter is not going to be working anymore. So you have that system in place to prevent the adapter from overheating.
Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty much the bones of it. I appreciate you coming on. Last question will be, do you have an approximate timeline of when this might be available and about how much will it cost? I know some of the automakers, Ford in particular, promised, I'm pretty sure Q1 2024. I mean, we're 3 months from that, from the beginning of Q1 2024. What's your timeline on having this available?
We expect it, if everything goes well, by the end of the year. So by the end of Q4 2023. And really doesn't depend on us. The adapter is ready. We've already gave orders to the production chain to implement those improvings that we've found out and that we've been given from other car manufacturers. So we're ready to massively produce this product like in a week, and we have the capacity to produce thousands every week. So it doesn't depend on us. We're going to be waiting on car manufacturers to give us the go. And finally, regarding the price, it's going to be approximately $150 to $200 US dollars.
Okay, it's a little bit less than what I expected. I thought it was going to be about $250. So that's actually a relatively good price. So
yeah, we're going to make it affordable. Even though we're the only company on the market having this adapter, we could sell it for $400, $500, but we want to keep a good image of our company, and we want to help accelerate the transition to EV. And I think people having CCS1 port equipped vehicles, being able to use those superchargers is going to help a lot of people doing road trips and having their EVs.
Absolutely. This is a big thing for the industry. We've talked about it a lot, and I'm glad to see that you're going to be playing a role in making electric vehicle charging a lot easier for non-Tesla vehicles. Amine, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. This isn't the last time we're going to talk, I think. I think maybe when you get close to releasing the product, maybe you'll get me one of the release products with the improvements. Maybe we'll have you back on again and talk about it right before you make them available. But I want to thank you for coming on, and good luck with the product.
Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, you can count on me. Whenever that's done, I'm going to send you an adapter.
Very good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to you.
Okay, so we learned this isn't the final version of this adapter. There's going to be improvements made. And those improvements were at the request of some of the OEMs that Amine is trying to sell this to and have it be the official adapter. So I like the fact that he's doing what he can to get this certified, to have the manufacturers behind him and saying this is an adapter that we think is safe and that we recommend using. They might even be selling it directly. We're not sure exactly how that's going to work with regards to the OEMs that approve this adapter, if they'll buy it through Amine, if they'll sell it in the shop, if it'll be both. I think that still all needs to be hashed out. I like the fact that this lock underneath here isn't just going to be a lock like it is now. The adapter won't work if it's not locked to the connector. I think that's an important safety feature. I'm glad that that was brought up by one of the OEMs. I like the price. If he's able to deliver it at the price point that he's talking about, that's less than what I expected it to sell for. And I'm hoping to get a hold of the final version within the next couple of months and check it out. Now, won't be able to use it, obviously, until the Supercharger network gets opened up to the other manufacturers. I have a Ford F-150 Lightning. I also have a Rivian R1S and Chevrolet Bolt EV, and all three of those companies that make those vehicles have agreed to use the NACS connector and open up the Supercharger network to their customers. So I should be able to charge all of those vehicles with this adapter here. Now, one thing that Amine did say was that the adapter is going to be limited to 300 amps. So that means the 400 volt architecture systems that I have in my 3 electric vehicles, I'm going to be probably limited to somewhere around 120 kilowatts, which I'm fine with. That's totally fine. Most of the Lightning won't charge it over 120 kilowatts for more than 7 or 8 minutes. In the very beginning, when you plug in, it will pull more than that. The Rivian will hold it for a little bit longer, but if this can deliver 120 kilowatts, I'm totally fine with that. Opening up the Supercharger network, that means it takes 5 minutes longer to charge than it would have on a CCS DC fast charger. First, I'd have to find a CCS DC fast charger that worked. One that delivered more than 150 kilowatts, which there's not a lot of them. So, you know, just the fact that the Supercharger network is all over the place, they work almost all the time, and we'll be able to deliver the full power that this can take is an awesome benefit, and I am 100% on board with the OEMs that have agreed to make this switch, and eventually they all will. I know everybody hasn't agreed to sign on and transition to the North American charging standard, but they all will in time. They have to. Could you imagine the competitive advantage that Mercedes would have over BMW, for instance? Mercedes has already agreed to transition. BMW hasn't said they're going to yet. But now you're cross-shopping an electric Mercedes with an electric BMW, and the Mercedes dealer says, you know, you can also access the entire Supercharger network and charge wherever you want. And the BMW guy is saying, yeah, you can charge at Electrify America. Yeah, I don't think that sale's going to go too well, at least to people that understand what's going on with public charging right now. So fortunately, a lot of people don't. They buy their EV and they find that the public charging network is less than robust right now if you don't have a Tesla. And you know, soon the playing field's going to be relatively level once Tesla opens up the Supercharger network to other manufacturers. Tesla had this enormous advantage over everybody else, and they're about to give that up, and they're okay with that. And I think it's good for the entire industry. So listen, if you have any questions about this adapter, You can't buy it yet. The A to Z shop calls this actually the Typhoon connector. They have names for their adapters. Their CCS1 to Tesla adapter is called, I think, the Thunderbolt or something like that. They give them names. But they have a full variety of adapters, A to Z. And they've actually sold, I think, about 18,000 CCS1 to Tesla or NACS adapters. So they're not new to this game. They've been making adapters for a long time. They've probably sold as many, if not more, than any of the other companies. And you know, this is a win for them to be the first company to come out with one of these and be working with the OEMs to get it certified as an OEM certified North American Charging Standard to CCS adapter. If you have any questions about this, leave it in the comment section below. We'll obviously have follow-up videos once I get the production version of this, and I'll probably have links to buy it and all that stuff from my website. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, don't forget, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.